I guess.
Yeah.
A feminine hierarchy always works better.
Okay. So you know why you're here, right?
Oh, I know why I'm here.
Okay.
Do you know why I'm here?
Yes.
Well, you don't know yet. You don't.
Okay. I think I know.
Believe me, you don't.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Is every trip different, or do they all have a central theme?
They have a central theme, but the thing about it is, the best way I can describe it, it's a room that you know so well and you walk into each time, but it's designed differently. And well, when I say that, I mean I almost feel like I know what's going to happen each time I take them, but I don't at the end of it because it's so very different. And not different, but you actually learn more than you did before. And it's kind of odd because I feel like there's a limit to it, but there's not.
Okay.
I mean, I can keep adding to that, but I'll keep it short.
So is it like a place you've been before a lot of times?
Yes, actually. The first experience is quite hard to reproduce because that is the time that you understand that you've been there so many times. Like the soul itself, it's been to this place an infinite amount of times. Like there isn't a number. I mean, a number itself isn't a way to justify how many times, because it's nothing more than a symbol. I'm sorry.
It's a symbol?
Yeah. Numbers themselves are nothing more than an amalgamation of understanding.
Okay. So is it almost like, so the first experience you ever had, you said, while in the place, you said, I've been to this place before.
Oh,
and it's a memory. It's like deja vu.
Deja vu. That's not even a good way to put about it.
Okay.
Ask that question again.
So the first experience you ever had going to the place, was it a memory you've had that you've been to that place many times?
It's not a memory. It is
a feeling.
It's an experience. The only way to sum it up is to say experience, or I mean, you could say feeling as well. But I mean, I don't know that a feeling is so much an experience, or vice versa. Is it knowledge that you're gaining in this place that you gained before and you just forgot about it? I wouldn't say that it's something that you're gaining, because it's something that's always there. But it seems it's floating above your head and you wouldn't even notice because you're too busy, going to work or something like that. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's befuddling.
So, do you think everyone has the capability of going to that place not on these?
No. It is absolutely impossible to get to this, how do I want to say, in between lines. Not in between the lines, but in between the pages. And when I say pages, I mean this dualism of consciousness, because your consciousness in a dualism is, for us, it's being awake or being asleep. But when I say these in between the lines, or the pages in between, these are the things that you should have been reading all along.
Okay.
It's,
So it's impossible to get.
It is absolutely impossible.
So
I mean,
in between pages.
It is absolutely impossible.
Without these substances.
Yes, it is 100. And I love that question because it's so easily answered.
Okay.
What else did I want to say about that? People think that you could possibly do meditation to get to this place.
I was going to say that.
But I mean, I've done meditation for hours. To try and get to this place without them, and it's absolutely impossible. You need them.
Okay.
You need them. They need you. I mean, it's...
Do you think everyone should take these?
Yes, everybody. The experience is more significant than sex. And
Okay.
to say, I mean, to compare, I'm only using that comparison because people think that's something significant, you know what I mean,
Okay,
in
yeah.
their lives, to lose their virginity or something like that. It is, there's nothing more important than doing these.
So you can even use the comparison that when women have children, that experience changes
That
them?
experience, yeah, it's very similar, because when you have a child, what happens is your brain, the ventricles and canals of your brain are actually filled with dimethyltryptamine, which is what psilocybin is. The alkaloid psilocybin is a tryptamine. It is the most natural and holistic way to take in dimethyltryptamine and to access it or to unlock it. Because your brain actually it stops creating dimethyltryptamine once you hit puberty,
Okay.
or once that starts to happen.
Okay, how do you feel about, I remember Christina's friend John, he was telling us on LSD, dogs and babies are aware that you're on them. Is that true with other sort of...
Well, they have this innate ability to melt boundaries. Like, for example, I had this very profound experience with a cat, and it talked to me.
In like a telepathic sort of
Telepathically, of
Okay.
course, yeah. It was just, it was funny because it wasn't saying anything but asking questions, because it was so, how do I want to say this? It was more amazed than I was.
Okay.
You know? I'll go into that story later, but
Okay.
it's fun. Like, for example, I mean, just to add to that, like last night I saw the same cat, and I was staring at him. And have you ever seen a cat do that? It's almost like a cryptic sideways walk where they contort their back.
Possibly.
Have you ever, like the
Halloween cat. It's like
exactly how it's standing oddly? Well, they walk like that sometimes, and I don't know what causes this, but actually, as I was staring at him, it's almost as if I made him do it.
Okay.
And then once he realized that I was using him as a toy for others to watch, he stopped.
Okay. So it was like a sense you controlling some sort of...
I wasn't
What he's doing?
controlling. Well, actually, I don't know. I don't know if I was controlling him, but I was certainly...
manipulating
Yes.
his senses?
Um,
Or asking him to do that?
I don't know if I asked him to do that. All I did was stare at him, not his body, his eyes, and immediately it just went through him. You know what I mean? It was quite odd.
Okay.
Because the first experience I had with him, he didn't do anything like that. He was just filled with questions.
And what were the questions? Like, how are you talking to me?
The first question over and over again was, "Is this real?"
Okay.
And then he said, "How do you know?" You know, it was nothing more than these questions that anybody would ask. You know what I mean? It was.
But it wasn't in language. That's the main
Oh
thing,
no!
right? It's almost like,
well, it's all like
it's
you know.
almost like
we
you're
assume
translating it into our language.
exactly.
but
We
it's not even-
it's well, I can't say it's our language. You know what I mean? It's an
Okay.
assumption that we bring about to understand.
Okay. So it was like, without him saying anything, you were able to format what he was thinking and saying to you.
Of course.
Without
Yeah.
the use of words. Okay. How does time work while tripping?
How does time work? Time isn't real. Really, in a sense, time. I mean, I was actually thinking about this when I was coming over here, because people like to think that they can't change the past, and they can only manipulate or change the future in that outcome. But the whole thing is, the whole paradox of that is, when you manipulate the future and you create it, it is going to be the past. So you can, in a sense, change what has already been. We don't live in a, you know,
A linear.
exactly. Time is like a non-locality, if you will. It isn't something real. It's a measurement. And with a measurement, with the definition of a measurement is something that is actually also quite unknown. It's an assumption. And honestly, with an assumption, I don't like to be brought into that because I'm not an ass.
To make an ass out of you and me. So, just so I can write it down.
Okay.
8:46. So you came around like 8. Okay. When did you ingest the tea or drink it, or and how much? Like, so I can write it down.
Honestly, I didn't
Count.
well, I didn't weigh the amount.
Okay.
I stopped doing that because it's really not relevant. Because even if you take 3 grams or 10 grams or 20 grams, it's still as significant. I mean, obviously, the thought, the thought
Okay.
keeps reoccurring, possibly stronger, if you will. But I think the high dosage really does something for more so the longevity of it than anything.
Okay.
I don't think that it's something that
So
makes it more intense.
Okay.
If you will.
All right. So would you say you took a higher one?
Oh
Yeah.
yes, a very high dose. Yeah. I would say it was
Around
probably
what
10
time?
grams.
It's 8:47, so it must have been an hour for you to drive here. Did you drink it at your house? Or?
So it was probably about an hour and a half.
Okay.
Maybe. We'll say that.
So around 6:30? No. Okay, so how do you make that tea?
Did you know how to boil water? You know, you just put it into the cup
Okay.
with the tea bags. You don't put them in the tea bags or anything like that. You just put them in the tea. The cup, I'm sorry. The alkaloid, psilocybin, it gets leached from the mushroom, and it is now in the water. After about 5 to 10 minutes, it is.